So this one says find two numbers whose sum is 10 and whose squares differ by 20. So our variables, we're going to have two variables on every problem, x and y. So those are the two things we're trying to find. In this case, those are the two numbers. So x is the first number, y is the second number. Even if you don't do anything else, you get a point just for telling me that. Now we have to write some equations.
They're gonna be like that every time.
There'll always be an x and a y, but they will be different things. Their sum is 10. What does sum mean?
Equal.
When you add them together, it equals 10. And whose squares, so squares, that's just like a second power, differ by 20. What does that mean?
X squared minus y squared equals 20.
Okay. So now this is like a problem that I could have given you yesterday. So we just have to decide how we want to solve it. So, okay, so let's take the top one and solve for x. So x is 10 minus y. So if I substitute that into the second one, so I replace my x with 10 minus y. How would we square that? FOIL. Yeah, it means you have two of them. So 10 times 10 is 100. Negative 10y is negative 20y. Negative y times negative y is positive y squared. So the positive y squared and negative y squared cancel. So then we could just subtract over the 100. So negative 20y equals negative 80. Divide by negative 20, so y is 4. And then once we have y, we have to find the other number. We know x is 10 minus y, so 10 minus 4 is 6. And then the last thing, if it's a word problem, I'd like you to write a sentence. So this just asks what the two numbers were. So the numbers are 4 and 6.
You have to do them in like X, Y order?
You do not.
So do we do that? Oh, we already have.
Yeah. You can write them as ordered pairs, you just don't have to on this. Is that one okay? Look at the next one. Alright, so there's a lot of words here, but we just have to read through this, figure out what our variables are. We already know we're going to have two things, an x and a y. So in a recent survey, the average number of texts sent by two age groups, 18 to 24-year-olds and those 55 or over, was 2,172. However, the number of texts sent by the 18 to 24-year-olds exceeded the number sent by those 55 or over by 3,362. Determine how many were sent by each age group. So I'm trying to find how many were sent by each age group. So those need to be my x and y. So x could be the number in the 18 to 24-year-old group, and y could be the number in the 55 and up group. So now we have to write our equations. It says the average. How do you find an average? So if I add these and divide by 2, the average was 2,172. Okay, then it tells me the number sent by the 18 to 24-year-olds exceeded those 55 or older by 3,362. Okay, so we subtract. The younger age group sent more, so when I subtract those, x minus y, the difference was 3,362. So we have substitution or elimination as options here. Actually, elimination would be really easy if I did what to my first equation?
Multiply by 2.
If I multiplied that 2 over, then I would have x plus y equals 4,342. And then we don't have to change the second one. That's wrong.
What was that? That was 4.
Yeah. Okay, so then if we add these, so we get 2x equals 7706. Then divide by 2. Get 3853. All right. So then to find y, we can plug it in anywhere. We could do one of the 2 original ones. We could even do this one right here if we wanted. I might do that one. So my x was the 3853 plus y equals the 4344. So we get y to be 491. So then we just have to answer the sentence. So the 18 to 24-year-old age group sent 2,853. We have a box with an open top, has a square base and 4 sides of equal height. So we have a box. I can't draw anything except a somewhat crooked box, apparently. Not my best box. That one was a little off. Just pretend. So it has a square base. So the base is the bottom. If it's a square, we know that in a square, the sides are the same. So we can pick a variable and call both of those the same. If you label it in a picture, you don't have to write in words what x is. And then the height, I don't know what that is, so I'm going to make that my y. So that's defining my variables. The volume of the box is 54 cubic inches. How do you find volume? Length times width times height. So x times y. So x times x would be x squared y equals 54. The height, so that's my y, is equal double the length of the base. Yep, so we could substitute that in to the first one. So that's x squared times 2x equals 54. X squared times 2x would be 2x cubed. Divide by 2. How do you get rid of a cube? Cube root. And the cube root of 27.
So y is 6.
We know y is 2 times x, so 2 times 3 is 6. Then we just write our sentence. So the base is 3 inches, and the height is 6 inches. Any questions on that one? So the hardest part is probably writing your equations to start with. Once you have those, it's kind of like solving what we have from this week. So I just have one last type of problem. So a student invests a total of $5,000, some at 3% and some at 4% annually. After 1 year, the student receives a total of $187.50 in interest. How much did the student invest at each rate? How can you guys pop so much? It's not healthy.
It's a habit, and when I hear somebody else doing it, I just want to do it, but I'm not going to because
So what am I trying to find? So x would be the amount at 3%, and y could be the amount at 4%. Right, we have a total of $5,000. The other thing I give you is the interest. So we get interest by doing principal times rate times time. We're only dealing with 1 year, so all we really have to do is your principal times your rate. So x is my principal, 3%, what would be my rate there? Okay, plus equals the interest, which was 187.50. So what do we do here? Yeah, we can do elimination if we want, or substitution. It doesn't matter at all. You can easily solve for one of those variables, but you could also easily multiply by something. So do you guys have a preference? You guys liked elimination better, I think. Alright, let's eliminate x. So if I take everything times a negative 0.03. And the x's cancel. 0.01y is 37.50. So divide by 0.01.
$3,000.
Good. And then I can plug that back in to find x, so it was x plus y equals 5,000. $1,250. And then we just have our sentence. So the student invests X was the amount at 3%, so $1,250 at 3%. And $3,750 at 4%. So there's a handout posted on Classroom. A lot of those problems are very, very similar to these 4 examples that we did.